Sandra Jenkins, and I taught hospitality and culinary arts, hospitality management and culinary arts.
And what year did you begin teaching at the college?
Oh my, 25 years ago, which would be, oh my, you're going to ask me hard questions, aren't you?
So in the 1980s?
80s? Yeah, I want to say in the 80s. Time is of no value right now that I'm retired, I guess. I can't remember. 25 years ago.
Okay. And how did you find out there was a job available at the college?
Well, I actually taught at a high school, and Jane Pearson was a student teacher under me. And then I went and had a family, and she took my place, and then she came over here, and she gave me a call, and she said, there's another opening. And I wasn't sure I'd want to teach college. I've always loved teaching high school, but I interviewed for it, and I took it.
What are your impressions of the first year on the job? Is there anything that stands out?
Well, the first year, I remember that in the positive, I really enjoyed teaching. It wasn't all that different from teaching high school. I still had a lot of the young students, which I liked, but I also had the students that were older, which was an interesting mix in the class. There were some discrepancies, though, when I got hired. I was hired at a level that was different than my experience. And so a group of us were hired and had to fight for recognition for our levels. So it became a real struggle in the beginning, but I quickly was able to get my footing and move up to the level that I was had the experience for. But at that time, it was very similar to what's happening now in the state with cuts in budgets and lack of money. And so I actually took a $10,000 cut in pay to come here.
From the high school?
From the high school. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had already had my master's. But it just seemed like an interesting challenge to come to teach college. And I had a young family, and I thought that it was time for a little bit of a change. I taught high school for 12 years, but I did. I took a major cut in pay.
Are you happy that you made the move from high school to college?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I loved every single day of work. I enjoyed teaching students. I enjoyed the period of time that I was did administrative work as a department chair. I liked the flexibility and the creativity of teaching college and starting new and innovative programs, which you just can't do at the high school level. So absolutely, I was very pleased right from the get-go that I made that choice.
Looking back over your 25 years, is there a single accomplishment that really stands out as something that you're proud of?
I think for me it was starting the program, the Support Education Program, bringing students with developmental disabilities on campus and teaching them culinary arts. And that was a very successful grant that ran over 20 years. And we graduated a lot of students who found jobs in the industry. So I think that was new and innovative. It was the only one of its kind at a community college in the United States. It won awards. So I think that was probably pretty impressive for me in terms of the opportunities to start something that innovative. And I think that toward the end of my career, it was getting involved with community engagement and really teaching my students that they have gifts and that they can take those gifts and help the community. And I think it's even more imperative that the economy is tough and there's great needs and there's not enough money to do all the things that need to be done in the community. And so in the last 4 or 5 years, I was able to get my students to work in soup kitchens and work with young children and teaching them how to eat healthy on a budget and see that as a change that I had never been involved with prior.
Very good.
What was the acronym? ICE, the developmental program. ICE?
It was at the time, but they stopped doing that. It was Incentive Community Enterprises. That was the agency that partnered with us, but the actual program was called the Supported Education Program.
Okay. Who were some of the people who made a big, let's start with faculty and staff, your colleagues. Who were some of the colleagues who had a big influence or made a big impression on you?
Well, Mike Heiso, when I first came here, I shared an office with him. I wasn't even here 6 months, and he talked me into being the department chair. So I think he got me on the road right away. Andy Paterna, he really helped me with understanding health and wellness and sustainability. He was pretty cool with all of that, and even reintroduced me to my cousin who was a naturopath, which was kind of cool. I think just all of the faculty that I worked with in the hospitality program stretched me in different ways. But I think that those are the first two that come to mind. I'm sure there'll be others as we're talking, but those are the first two that come to my mind.
Yeah. Are there any students that you are particularly proud of, people who may have turned their lives around or reinvented themselves through your program?
I think that every one of my students left an impact on me. There were some that really became teachers, some became chefs, but each one of them in their own right influenced me in a way, especially with culinary, because when they come into the classroom, they come with a lot of information about the industry. Some of them are already working, and I think what I like is the fact that a lot of my students were they were very culturally diverse, and they taught me how to cook Hispanic or how to cook a Polish dish. So, but to say one student, no, they all left their mark on me.
Do you, you and your students put on a number of dinners, luncheons around various themes over the years? Can you elaborate on those?
I think the international meals are my favorite. It allowed me, by teaching international foods, allowed me to do a lot of traveling and study cuisines from different aspects, going to China or Italy. Those are my favorite classes to teach. I taught baking, but I think the international classes and then the gourmet dinners were very challenging. We did Escoffier-type dinners, and so that was interesting. And then, of course, there is the wine auction, and the wine auction is huge, huge. All the people that come, getting all the classes on board, making it part of curriculum so the students aren't being taken advantage of. That's a big event for us. And it's like childbirth. When you're going through it, you think you're not going to live. And then once you get through it, you see all the positive aspects of it, and you say, oh, okay, maybe I could do this again. I don't know how many times have we done it. A lot.
Working with food and creating food, serving food to people, you must have had some funny stories over the years.
Oh, funny stories.
Something that maybe happened in the kitchen or something that happened during the meal.
Nothing comes to mind. I'm sure there were.
So everything worked smooth as clockwork for 25 years?
No, actually the funniest meal was my last. And I laughed about it because it was my worst. I tell my students that particular meal was our worst meal ever. And I don't know why, but we laughed about it because I said it had left such a mark on me that my last meal was memorable in that it wasn't the best, but it was one of the worst. Not that the guests thought so. They actually liked it because there was so much going on. It was the dinner theater, and so there was a lot happening, but we ran out of food, and we were making lo mein noodles, and the noodles didn't come out, so we didn't have any lo mein to go with the stir fry, and the students had to scoop the ice cream, and they were in the freezer, and there was just one thing after another, and we laughed about it. I mean, at first I was like, I can't believe this is happening. But we did laugh about it, and the students, when we were reflecting on the semester, they were happy that the last meal was my worst, so I would never forget them. So.
Now, we had a president here for 2 decades who was very demanding. Was it difficult preparing food for events that he was involved with?
You know, Jonathan, I guess you probably shouldn't have said that. He was demanding, but I don't know. I had a way with Jonathan Dalby, and in some ways his demanding nature in the dining room just made me find creative ways to work with him. He was a guest, and that's the part of hospitality, is that we make our guests feel comfortable and we work with them. So he challenged me in a lot of ways, but I liked him. I did. I liked him. He had a positive effect on me, not a negative.
If you were talking to someone who has just been hired by the college to begin teaching here in the fall, what advice or words of wisdom would you give them?
I think the most important thing is to know how to balance your life. That work is important, and the things that we do here on campus are extremely important, but don't let it become all-consuming. That there are other things in life that are far more valuable, family, friends, and you need to make time for those. You need to take time for yourself. And if you are just about the job, you're not going to be a good teacher. You're going to be unhappy, I think. That would be for me. And in the beginning, I was consumed with work. I had a young family. I was trying to balance. There were many days that I was reading to my children. I'd get phone calls and I'd stop. And then I thought, you know what, this isn't good. I need to balance my life with my work. And when I did that, I became a better teacher, a better mother, better wife, happier me.
Anything you'd like to add?
This was an amazing job, an amazing journey. I loved working here. I will continue to adjunct, probably for a while. But for me, teaching is the best job ever. If I ever lost my job as a teacher, I wouldn't have become a chef. I would have had to find another avenue to teach, because that's who I am, a teacher. So Manchester Community gave me the opportunity to live out my gifts, and it was good. It was very good.
I have a question. The most remarkable thing about that food service program is the dedication of the staff above and beyond the call of duty. Why? Because of the hospitality? I mean, you guys will commit to projects that are just amazing. I don't know other departments or divisions that would have done that.
We were an awesome team.
You certainly were.
We were an awesome team. I think that's what I miss, and probably one of the easiest reasons that it is for me to retire, because we were together as a team, and we worked with each other. Our strengths worked together well. And, there were times they had to put us in a room because we were like married people. We would get aggravated with each other, and we would fight, and we'd have to get us back in the room and say, oh, okay, we've been together for 20 years. We got to kind of regroup. But we were a team. We were an awesome team, and it happened because we were a team, and we knew what we were good at, and we knew what we weren't good at, and we let the people who were good at certain things do certain things. And, Glenn was always working with wines, and Linda was always the creative force, and Mike would always walk around and make sure we were doing things with a great, eye for sanitation and nutrition, and Jane, kept us together, and Carl, we each had our strengths, and that's, I think, for me, this last year is what I missed the most, because it was hard. It's been very hard to do the things that need to be done on this campus right now without that team. I miss the team.
Very good. Thank you, Sandra. It was wonderful.